You know, now that I've gotten a chance to talk to you, so you said you like transformation, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you two discuss that while I go let my dog in real quick.
And you write stories and such.
Well, I used to.
Yeah, I know how that is. Like, I got like some serious writer's block. Yeah, I'm a writer as well. It's fun. It's lots of fun. If you ever get back into it, like, we should totally do like a collab or something. If that's even a thing. Is there even collab writing things like?
No idea, actually.
I think that'd be like really neat if that's even a thing that people do.
I know people do the thing where they just role play with each other and then post it up like it's a story.
Nah, I don't do that.
I've seen people do that, and it almost never.
I've seen it. I don't particularly like to read that kind of thing.
Well, it never turns out any good.
Yeah, writing an actual like story is a lot different, and it's better, and it's just more entertaining to read. Roleplay is honestly only entertaining to read if you're, at least in my opinion, if you're involved in the roleplay. You're an active participant. Otherwise, I just don't really find it that interesting to read.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Suki, at some point you need to reply to that RP.
Yes, I know. What kind of mic do you have?
Well, let me see if I can find the name on here. It's Audio Technica. It's in the
I've heard of
numbers, but I don't remember.
Yeah, and every piece of technology always has like some random string of numbers.
Yeah, I don't remember what the number.
You don't know what they mean.
It was like $100. It was a very expensive mic. Although other people who do YouTube stuff would probably look at the mic and be like, "It's a cheap piece of junk."
Yeah, freaking I was watching Good Mythical Morning, and I liked the mic that they have, and they had like a link to it. It was like I went to it, and it's like freaking $1,200.
Yeah, the mic that the Game Grumps use is like a $999 mic.
Like, I wish I could afford that stuff. $9,000.
It might have been more than that. Hold on.
I would hope nobody would spend $9,000 on just a mic. That's insane.
You have to understand, with their new setup, they don't have just one mic anymore. It's not just two guys on a couch. It's evolved to become this like giant studio thing. So they've actually got like 3 giant swing mics on stands and everything behind the couch that they lift over and put it next to them and stuff like that. And those are probably a solid $2,000 a piece, probably.
Hey, I'm Grump.
It's Friday the 13th.
Oh, this is actually the whole video. I know it's in the video.
Celebrate.
Home free.
Happy Death Day.
Which video are you watching?
We use to Sony Wega. You just got these motherfuckers all labeled. It's called a breakaway cable, and to turn it on, playing here. Got a monitor set, but what about sound? We used to use this guy, motherfucking expensive ass mic. Sennheiser MKH416. They make movies with this shit. There's a fucking another one. There's one over here too. Fuck the Grump Room.
Oh my god, that sounds intense.
Well, that's a commercial done by Aaron for you.
Yeah. What did he say the mic was called? The Sennheiser MKH416? He said that's what they used to use, though. Is that what they're currently using?
That's what they still had when Danny was first introduced to the Grumps. That's what Aaron and John were using there for the longest time. But now, if you want to see their new setup at their apartment and everything, there's a video that Aaron did recently where it gives like a tour of their new pad or whatever. Yeah. I think it's actually just called Our New Pad or something, so look for that in their video playlist.
Yeah, it's the one where they have the portal bathroom or whatever. I was just trying to see how much the mic they were using cost, because I feel like their mic was like ridiculously expensive. Like it was like just a whole nother level of price that I could probably never afford. And they had like 3 of them.
I'm not sure what kind of mics they're using, honestly, like what the model is or anything like that.
But I know they have like professional like mics.
Like, yeah, they have like
for movies and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the most I'm gonna spend on a mic is like probably like $200 or something. I don't have the money to be buying $1,000 mics.
The only way I'm gonna buy a more expensive mic or a more expensive setup is if I ever reached a point as someone on YouTube where like it was worth it to invest more.
I'm the kind of person who will keep using the same equipment.
Yeah, maybe if we ever get through this adpocalypse.
That's true too.
I mean, I don't care how cheap it is. If it works, So why would I go out and spend, $1,200 on a mic that I can spend, like $300 on that does the same thing?
Yeah, all I really need is something that, makes me sound smooth and sexy, and that's it. Saw my atrocious keyboard typing.
True.
I feel that.
I want to do some ASMR videos.
God,
With keyboard
how did
typing?
that even catch on?
Because it's relaxing to listen to.
It's like weird to me. I don't feel like it'd be relaxing at all.
I'll just put my fursuit paws on and just click the nails on my desk very softly. I mean, I saw one where a guy had like some monster claws on and he was doing that. I'm like, people will go to insane lengths to, trigger you.
For the ASMR videos, it's actually meant as a type of video therapy.
Oh yeah, like not just the sound, the way you're watching. It's supposed to be visually appealing as well.
Typically, but they do have recordings where it's just the audio only, in which case it's meant as an auditory stimulus to help calm you for like meditation or something similar. So that's why they're always like having like a voice just barely above whisper. They're usually having a light tapping on like a mug or a porcelain cup or on like a keyboard or something, just to have a little bit of extra white noise, because it's naturally stimulating for the senses, typically especially for your hearing, and then the extra white noise on top of that will help your brain to focus and help filter that out, so you're focusing more on what it is they're saying, which I guess is kind of the main point of the video.
I like those oddly satisfying videos, like where you're like getting a perfect slice of cake or other weird shit.
I don't know. Some of those I am dissatisfied with for some reason.
They do have oddly dissatisfying compilations as well.
Of course they do.
How do you get a perfect piece of cake?
I don't know. Like you cut it, like my dumb ass would probably like cut it, either not all the way to the center or cut it too far.
Oh, you mean like...
If you're cutting it like just exact, like the just nice perfect triangle piece of cake. I probably wouldn't be able to do that because my hands shake a lot and I'm just dumb.
You're not dumb.
That makes sense.
I like things to be perfect. I'm OCD.
Yeah, you and Nick both.
So the weirdest things will be like just awesome. So Blake, do you vape?
No.
Oh God.
Not. What is it?
I said, do you vape?
Oh, I said no.
I thought you asked what I said.
But yeah, no. I don't vape. Quit smoking in like April.
Well, good on you.
Well, I haven't been to bed yet, so I actually...
I'm running out of ideas. I'm running out of things to talk about.
Yeah, that happens.
That's why I'm vaping right now, because like my brain is not stimulated very much.
It's all good. It doesn't actually matter if there's like points where we're not saying anything, because like obviously I can.
Well, yeah.
Cut that later. But speaking of which, by the way, if after the fact you think back about anything you said and you're like, oh well, actually, just let me know and I'll kill it or whatever. I'm just saying if that were to at any point be the case.
Oh no, I was wrong on a thing. Remove everything I said ever.
Yes, just remove every instance of me speaking, me even existing. Blot out my icon from the thing.
I need you to selectively go through the audio and remove everything I say and only everything I say.
Only everything I say.
Yeah. I need you to go through the audio and remove every single instance of me saying the word "and."
That's a really long-on sentence.
I did some masterful ass editing in my second World's Drift video, because I did a thing. I cut it where I was like jumping up into the air, and then I cut to a part where I'm landing, but I'm landing in like a completely different part of the island, like way far somewhere else, but it looks really smooth still.
Nice.
It's like, yeah, gotta love that editing on fleek.
Excuse me while I just teleport over here by jumping. Okay, and I'm on the other side of the island.
Yeah, whenever I first started doing the cuts, I was always using because the first time I started actually cutting stuff, it was during the Amnesia game. So pretty much every time you went through a door, there was always black screen, and pretty much everywhere you walk, it flashes white because he'll have some kind of dumb flashback. So I was using those to switch between things on the very first couple of videos where I started actually cutting things, because I had to learn how first.
Yeah, I have to cut things or else my videos would be way too long. I still haven't finished cutting that stupid. We have me and Johnny have hours upon hours of Terraria footage that I've had to wade through.
Oh, that sounds awful. Yeah.
Some of it with actually
I've been cutting bits out where it gets boring and stuff. Mostly, I try to keep it somewhat interesting and remove as much silence as I can.
See, it's just after a while, if you don't have like a third person to help kind of keep things, you know, stimulated or going or interesting, because you don't have somebody that just keeps talking and talking, eventually you just kind of get to a point where both of you are just like, I don't know what to say anymore, so I'm just going to shut up and let them do a thing. And then neither of you ends up doing anything, so it's just silence for minutes on end.
Yeah, we had a few issues like that. It's way easier to do that than it is to do one person by yourself. That's been the real nightmare. Anytime I have to record something on my own because nobody else has time, and I'm just like, hi.
Yeah, that's how it is with my Worlds of Drift videos.
Well, hey, to both of you, if I am online, I am always down to record anything. So, just throwing that out there.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
I
would not mind participating in any, like, co-op games if y'all play anything like that.
Yeah. I need to get more co-op games. Right now, the only ones I have is this game we got for like 99 cents called Orion or something, and you like fight dinosaurs.
Badass.
And it's like a first-person shooter where you fight waves of dinosaurs, and it's kind of fun.
There's a better version of that. It's called Ark Survival Evolved. It's basically Minecraft with dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I haven't gotten around to playing it though.
Yeah, but the other game I have that's co-op is Battle Block Theater.
Me and Johnny were supposed to play on Battlegrounds, but apparently his computer can't handle it.
Oh, really?
I'm still tinkering around with it to see if I can maybe find a workaround to get it to work, because I looked at the system requirements on Steam, and comparing that to what I know is in my PC, I should be able to run it flawlessly.
Yeah, that's why I asked you what your RAM is, because it said like 6 gigabytes. He needed at least 6 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, but also needed 30 gigabytes of, you know, storage space to be able to actually download the game and install it. But yeah, my RAM shouldn't be an issue, so I think that it's just some sort of issue on their end of the servers that it's screwing over my connection for some reason.
I keep every time I play that game, like it automatically sets in with the queue or whatever. It automatically sets me to be in a Asian server, and I always have to switch it back to North American server. Because one, again, if I play on the Asian server, I'm gonna get lag, and two, like I won't understand what anybody's saying.
That would be a huge issue.
Although I don't really use the chat function all that much, because like you can give away your position if you use the chat function. It's a fun game though. I really enjoy it, which is surprising because I don't really actually care for shooters all that much.
I get in like
I like this one.
I get in like certain moods where I really want to play a shooter, but for the most part, I prefer like JRPGs and probably like games like Amnesia, where you kind of walk around and like explore stuff.
Yeah, I love that game. It's terrifying.
I hate pure walking simulator games though. Those are really annoying. Like there's got to be more to it.
If you want a really good game that's about like exploring the environment and that kind of thing, I hear Yooka-Laylee is really good because it's made by some of the people who originally did the Banjo-Kazooie games. And I mean, yes, it's a collectathon because you gotta go explore to find the, you know, whatever it is you're supposed to be looking for. But they build the world in such a manner, and they have puzzles set up. It makes it fun and interesting and creative in the way they do it.
So I can't believe that thing where they took Jontron's voice acting out.
Of Yooka-Laylee. Jontron was supposed to do something for it, and they cut him.
He was? He voiced some character that was in an outhouse or whatever.
I don't understand that fully though, because the game does like the sound effects for dialogue, so I never fully understood how you're supposed to voice a character.
Well, I mean, when I saw a clip of the original with Jontron's voice, I mean, I could definitely tell that it was Jontron in hindsight.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of like what they did with Peter Dinklage and Destiny, which I thought was kind of bullshit.
Which, I mean, personally, I can kind of understand their decision to remove Jontron, though. Because they removed him right after he said that really, really dumb shit.
Which one is that?
Oh, man. He decided to get into politics, which was a horrible move in the first place. And he was doing, like, this debate with some Twitch streamer. And he started talking about some very, like, alt-right stuff. I don't even remember it all, but, like, half of it made no sense.
Well, who was talking about the alt-right stuff? Jontron or the streamer that he was talking to?
Jontron was. The streamer was, like, one of those, like, super lefty guys. And
okay.
Jontron was, like, on top of being, like, really right-wing, he was terrible at debating, so, like, he kept tripping over himself and saying dumb stuff.
Destiny,
but he was also already holding really dumb positions. and it just got worse and worse for him.
The streamer's name was Destiny.
Oh, I heard about that. I heard that was a skit they were doing, but yet somehow people like took it early or something.
No, it was an actual like debate. It was a real debate.
It was?
Yeah, the whole thing was a real thing.
Oh,
at least she wasn't debating someone like Steve Shives or something. That would have been a shit show.
Oh, that would have been funny. Although the idea of Steve Shives like actually interacting with somebody he disagrees with is never going to like.
You know, I checked on Twitter the other day, and he has me blocked. Steve Shives has me blocked.
I have, you know, the story from Twitter that just happened where like some UFC fighter was like telling some other dude that he could save his kid's life or whatever, but only if that guy begged him for the money or whatever.
Did you know that our apartment is like 20 degrees warmer than just about everything else around it?
Cool. But do you
now
know?
you know.
Yeah. But do you know?
No, I guess half the battle. G.I. Joe.
But do you know what I was talking about whenever I said that? The thing about the UFC fighter?
What?
Yeah, there was some UFC fighter who saw this GoFundMe for like some kids like hospital stuff, and he like tweeted to the guy who was like the dad of that kid, and he was like, I have the power to save your kid's life, but only if you grovel at my knees and beg me for it.
You know, I heard something along those lines.
I wonder if he's actually serious or just trying to sell a heel angle.
No, it wasn't another wrestler, it was like some dude, like a comic book artist or something that he did it to. And he called him like a failure for not having the money to take care of his kids' like own hospital bills and stuff. But anyways, the whole point of the story was I found this out and I was gonna go like follow the dad or whatever on Twitter just because he seemed like a cool dude and he was like a comic book artist anyways. And I got onto his page and I was blocked, even though I've never seen him before in my life.
Yeah, that's how it is with me and Steve Shives.
And I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, why am I blocked from this random stranger that I've never talked to once?
I don't even know how you do that sweeping block thing on Twitter.
There's like this place you can go where people make lists of names of people to block. It's like a block list thing. And if you like do something, it'll like block everyone on that list.
It probably got me blocked because I'm like, probably like blocks anybody that is following a certain Twitter user.
Yeah, I probably have a bunch of people blocking me because at one point I was like doing the whole Gamergate thing back when it originally started.
Yeah, I saw that. Totally not a stalker.
No, it's cool.
I gotta use my Twitter, so I'm probably just gonna be like shit posting for like the first 5 years of my Twitter.
You did? Oh, you did remember, I think.
I did.
Okay, it says it on the thing, but you know how McDonald's is, so let's hope they didn't fuck up. Hooray, they didn't fuck up. I can actually eat my food.
I'm gonna eat these fries and I'm gonna sleep.
I'm going to not eat right now because microphone plus food equals annoying.
Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we could always end this if you just want to eat.
Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. Boom, and we are back again. We are back into recording because we finished eating that food, that sweet, sweet food.
Into recording land.
So you guys don't get to know anything about what we talked about during that short little pause that you probably won't even know existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw you, guy.
We talked about the first 10 minutes of the first podcast.
Yeah, we did. I keep forgetting that's a thing.
We discussed the secret of the universe.
It's 42. Everybody knows. It's not a secret.
Well, no, that's just the answer. But do you know the question?
We figured out the question, but that was in the first 10 minutes of our first podcast, so no one will ever know.
Womp womp.
The question is, what's 6 times 7?
Apple.
No. See, guys, the question is violence. The answer is yes.
See, violence is not the answer. It's the question.
Exactly.
Well, I am going to sleep.
Yeah, I figured. I'm surprised you've even stayed up this long.
I am too, but that's because I got fries. So you had a wonderful conversation about shit.
Okay.
Oh, Joy.
Bye.
We're supposed to discuss shit.
Bye, Blake's brother.
Wait, what?
I said bye. I was telling bye to him.
So you said bye to him, right?
Yeah.
What did you call him?
Is he not your brother?
No.
I thought he was your brother.
That's the part I thought you had said, but I wasn't sure. I was like, did you...
I said Bob Blake's brother because I thought he was your brother.
No, he's not my
My
brother.
mistake. He's just your roommate.
Boyfriend?
Boyfriend. Okay. My mistake. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine, you're fine. I just happened to catch it, like, barely.
I hope he didn't hear that.
I'm sure he'll be amused if he did.
And see, the thing is, this whole time I've been wanting to ask, like, whether you guys were a couple, but at the same time, I didn't want to, like, out you in case you, like, hadn't revealed that already, so...
Oh no, I'm not worried about that.
In today's society, who cares?
People still in the closet?
We're all queer, except for you. Well, you're slightly queer.
I'm slightly queer.
You used to act straight as an arrow, but you've joined us on the dark side just a little bit.
There was a post I saw on Facebook, and I agree with it. I am 2.19% gay.
Well, it's more than 0.
Yep, and I am okay with that, and if nobody else is, well, then fuck off.
Well, you like what you like.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I'm here. I'm sexually attracted to pants.
Pants?
Pansexual. People confuse pansexual and think like that it's some kind of sexual attraction to pants.
Well, it could be worse. I thought you said pants.
That's what I thought too.
And
I did say pants.
I was like, wait, what?
So, are you talking about khakis or jeans? Like...
I like my Levi jeans. I like my Levi jeans.
Fair enough.
They fit very well. And they're just muy.
In lieu of the conversation of pansexual and identification and all that, the greatest comeback I have ever come up with regarding all that is just that I am a lesbian attack helicopter who fucks goats. That's what I identify as.
Well, I'm an Apache attack spoon.
An Apache attack spoon?
Yep.
Oh my god. See, when you said that though, now I'm picturing like a little teacup with like spoons as its rotary blades flying around, and it's got like little like knife rockets.
Well, I mean, it could be better than what... It's not any worse than what I imagined, like a little spoon with like the Rambo bandana on his head, like a machine gun.
So wait. Does he also have like a butter knife like in its like mouth and he's like jumping at you with it, or?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
But okay, so if it's a butter knife or a knife of any sort, really, is it like small enough, to be like compensated because it's a spoon, or is it just like a regular like steak knife?
If it were me, it would be a fancy Japanese cutting knife. Yeah.
But again, the question is it full size or is it small to compensate?
It can be whatever you want it to be.
It's one of those as seen on TV knives.
Are you talking one of those ones that has like 24 different transformations and shit?
Yeah.
It's got 1,000 uses.
Everything always has like 30 uses on those TV infomercials.
I know. Oh my god, they're so stupid.
Oh man, have you seen the Jontron video about the...
The Flex Seal, yes.
I need the Flex Seal to seal up the holes in my life.
Yep.
and
then he does another one on a...
I like how he's talking about how it can't fix a broken marriage, but it's still proven to be more effective than a placebo.
I like his reaction where it's the inventor of the Flex Seal, whatever, like stabbing the bottom of the fucking bucket and it pops up on the side with a "Do not try this." Now, do not try this at home. Just literally, do not ever do this. Okay, Steve over here, he's gotten a little mad.
Yeah.
And then the dude goes and he gets a motherfucking chainsaw and starts just ripping into this fucking bucket. It is...
Yeah.
Wow.
I love how over the top all those infomercials get.
Right.
I need flex tape to seal up the void in my soul.
Just some of the infomercials about some of the stupider shit too, like how they, have that gray and black screen that suddenly pops up when like someone just drops a whole shit ton of things. They're carrying a super large load and they drop everything, and it's just like, what kind of human being does this?
Have you seen the compilations of those?
I have, and it's...
my favorite one's the one where this kid, hits himself in the face with... What is he? I can't remember what he hits himself in the face with, but he literally goes out of his way to hit himself in the face, and then he, pulls up his arms and does, the shrug your shoulders thing.
Don't he just, walk into a door or something?
I can't remember anymore, but he intentionally, there's no accident about it. It's supposed to be, an accident, because, it's an infomercial.
Right.
It's clearly him hitting himself on purpose and then shrugging and going What happened?
What did I just hit myself in the face? You know, I hate that one product that you see on I've seen on infomercials. They just it's called My Pillow. Like, you couldn't have thought something more creative than My Pillow.
Oh, we sell those at my Walgreens.
We sell those
well, come on. That's so uncreative. Like, My Pillow.
Yeah.
You can have My Pillow. You can buy My Pillow.
Speaking of the gray and white infomercial things, have you seen the one where the woman just literally grabs a hammer and for no reason like hits her wall and like busts a big ass hole in it?
Yes.
That's another good one. And it's like, what are you even doing?
Like, I can't be a man, but what kind of mental state do you have to be to just grab a fucking hammer and just start hacking away your wall?
Yeah, like they couldn't even be bothered to like put a nail there to like at least pretend like she was trying to hammer something.
Right.
They just had her smack a wall for no reason. I bet that's fun to like film though if you're like the actor or whatever. They're like, all right, we need you to do this really dumb thing.
Yeah, here's $50. Just take that giant hammer on the table there, just smack away at this wall we have.
Yeah, just give it a little slap.
Yeah, but put some muscle in it. Put a fucking hole in there if you can.
Yeah, and then there's the one.
Yeah, smash that shit.
There's the one where the old lady like pulls the recliner back on her chair and like throws her bowl of popcorn like 80 miles behind her.
Oh my god, yes.
And then another one I really like is when the guy's like trying to like holding all the stuff on his lap on the couch and he's like trying to reach for his drink and like everything flies everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the same one where the like couch collapses in on him or some shit?
I don't remember, but probably.
Yeah, those infomercials though, they get ridiculous.
Yeah.
I watched this YouTuber called Djibouti Dubs that takes like infomercials and just dubs over them with like the most ridiculous things.
Oh, that sounds fun. I used to watch this one podcast where they had a little segment where they'd watch those as seen on TV commercials and try to guess how much like the thing cost.
Well, like with anything else on as seen on TV, it's always $19.95.
Oh, yeah,
that's just how it works.
It's $9.99, and then sometimes like some things will be like $50, but it's just like mostly $19.99, and then
$19.95.
Plus $9.95 shipping.
Yeah, $14.95 is another one that like pops up a lot.
But call it now for free shipping and handling.
Yeah, that was always fun to watch. They have some like weird stuff. Like if I had the time and the ability, I would just make little sheaths for kitchen knives and call it the knife sleeve and like sell it on those as seen on TV commercials.
The sad thing is, it would probably sell.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I figured it would probably sell because they'd have like some dumb commercial where someone like trips and falls and stabs themselves.
That sounds exactly like one of those.
I probably need a knife sleeve. I mean, I didn't put I put my knife on the shelf and I didn't put it up there very well. Freaking dropped and like landed on my foot.
Oh, Alex, that hurt.
I didn't chop my toe off at least.
I would need a knife sleeve because instead of being a responsible human being and putting the knife either into the dishwasher after I'm done using it or back into the bucket where it belongs, instead I decided I was going to blindfold myself and toss it up in the air and hope it lands in the rack or some shit up there on the ceiling.
You put your knives in a bucket.
No, it's not like a literal bucket. I'm talking the little like.
I'm just imagining a bunch of knives in a bucket.
No knives, but we do have a random assortment of other kitchen utensils in a bucket.
The bucket of random.
I feel like it's just dumb enough to sell on like one of those infomercials. I wouldn't be surprised if the NSA's selling that idea to somebody right now.
The thing is, it definitely is dumb enough to sell, especially if you put them in like an assortment of different colors.
Yeah.
You got like a pink one, a light blue, a green, maybe a brown or something.
Yeah.
And of course you need a wooden one.
But yeah, it would just effectively be little sheaths for all your fucking kitchen knives. I love how all of the infomercial products they sell are things that you don't actually need because all of your problems on those infomercials could be solved by paying attention.
Yeah.
Right.
There are things that like happen to you one time because you weren't paying attention that one time, that one day. They're not like
and then
that happen to you every day.
And because of that one experience, you learned, oh, hey, let's not do the thing that led to that.
Oh, unless you're dumb, and then you just never learn, and you do it again like a few weeks later. But even if you don't learn from your mistake, it's never a mistake that's going to happen every day. It's still something that only happens like once a month or something.
Unless you do it intentionally. But at that point, you're just delusional and crazy.
Because, like, not being careful when you reach into your cabinet to grab something and some stuff falls down, like, it'll happen to you, like, maybe once. But it's not going to be like every time you reach in your cabinet, everything's falling on you. If it is, you need to, like, rearrange your cabinet. That's your issue.
Or you're a hoarder, in which case you need help.
Yeah, that's fair point.
Oh god, it's raining knives.
It's raining knives. Hallelujah. It's raining knives.
I don't know if we'll be saying hallelujah though.
I mean, probably not.
Do you watch Adventure Time at all?
No, not really.
I know a bit about it, but I don't.
Oh, you just reminded me, 'cause there's one episode where they have a literal knife storm for no reason. Like, it just starts raining knives in one episode.
That doesn't surprise me.
He's like, oh no, it's a knife storm. And then they have to stay inside the whole episode. It's like one of those episodes.
I don't know why, but it makes me think of like some sort of weird like Oprah segment. You get a knife, and you get a knife, and you get a knife. Everybody gets a knife. It's raining knives up in here. Some shit like.
Yeah.
But no, I like Adventure Time. It's an interesting concept, but just I haven't gotten around to watching it.
Yeah, it's a good show. I like it. Definitely.
I watched
check it out when you have time. But like speaking about the Oprah thing. Like, if she still did those shows, I would be the person who shows up on the day she's giving away, like, the shittiest stuff.
Oh my god.
Like, you get a free gift coupon to some store you'll never go to. And I'm like, damn it, why couldn't I be here on car day?
And if everybody looks under your seats, you'll see that you all have $20 to Hot Topic. Ah!
Gift cards for everyone. And maybe a complimentary gift basket with, like, some fancy soaps in it and stuff.
But the gift packs, but
I would use the fancy soaps. I would use those. I like fancy soaps.
But see, it wouldn't be soaps, it'd be dildos because the gift basket is from Cirillo's.
Dildo soap. Dildo soap.
I believe the term you're looking for is douche.
Oh god. But no, I love that fancy, good smelling like Bath and Body Works stuff. That's so nice. I have a really strong sense of smell, okay? So when I smell something that smells really nice, it really smells nice.
Oh, see, I have no sense of smell, so I can't smell anything.
You'd think I wouldn't be able to smell anything because I have like really bad seasonal allergies that like block up my nose, but nope, I smell like just entirely too well.
I don't have any like issues with smelling, but I'm usually don't really pay attention unless it's like a really terrible smell.
Yeah, that's the curse of having a good sense of smell is when you get to those things that smell really bad.
Yeah, for the most part, I just kind of noise them out in the same way you kind of zone out background noises. You kind of do the same thing with smells. And so for the most part, unless it's something like really, really bad, I won't even notice it.
But yeah, I mean, anything but like really, really bad smell, see, your nose pretty much just eventually acclimates and you don't really smell anything anymore. But I do not envy... Go ahead.
It must be like a weird experience to smell a thing for the first time. Like, I mean, you wouldn't remember it because you're like probably you're like definitely like a baby whenever you smell something for the first time. But I bet like it's like a totally like weird experience like the first time you actually smell a thing.
Yeah, I know I've seen those like things where like they're babies that they're born with their hearing like all messed up, and then they get like some hearing aids put in, and then they act all like cute, surprise. It's adorable.
Yeah, I'd say like it'd be weird to like experience something like that for the first time. You never remember like those experiences. By the time you like really can remember anything, you've seen stuff and felt stuff and smelled stuff so regularly that it's just kind of a thing you do. But I bet it's like a totally jarring experience like whenever you've like felt or seen something for the first time or smelled something for the first time and like you have no concept of what like a smell or a touch is.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine not being able to smell or pretty much any other sense, to be honest.
Yeah, like whenever they have like those people who are like can't hear, have never been able to hear their entire life, and then they like give them like some kind of one of those implant things or whatever, and then like they hear for the first time and you see them like freak out.
I think that might be fake, honestly.
I'm sure like the first couple of ones were real and then they started faking them. But that is like a real thing that happens though. Like there really are people who are like deaf their whole life and then like they get one of those implants. So like I bet for them like they probably know exactly what it's like to, you know what I mean, experience a sense for the first time. I bet it's like a totally like crazy experience. But you wouldn't know what to do with it because you never had to deal with it before.
What are these crazy things happening in my mind?
Yeah.
Oh lordy.
So that's what a sound is.
Can you imagine, like, being a doctor and, like, you know, you wake somebody up from the anesthesia after they get the implants put in and everything, and then, you know, they hear, like, the machine beeping, and they're just like astonished for a few moments, and they're like some little thing that happens, and they're just like fuck, and it's like, huh? I thought I'd be angrier with that.
I wonder how hard it is to like learn how like words and stuff when you've been deaf your whole life, and then all of a sudden you can hear. Because like you already have like you've probably learned sign language, you know what I mean? So
and lip reading.
Like a concept of language, but you never actually heard a word before. So I wonder if that's like weird and like.
Well, there's actually been a little bit of debate over that because people who are born deaf, if they go on to learn sign language and thusly can also learn to like read lips, theoretically they actually would know what a word sounds like, just they've never actually physically heard it.
What I always wonder is how deaf people think. If you can't hear a sound, how do you think?
They probably aggressively sign language in their head.
It's gotta be crazy.
You could always ask if you knew anybody who was deaf, like what thinking is like. Do they like think in words, or they probably just like visually think, because like visual thinking is pretty common anyway.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
I mean, at the point, it kind of depends upon the person, really. I mean, I've had some tell me that they think, like they're, like you said, aggressively signing in their head, and that's their, interpretation of it. There's some who, they picture what it is they're trying to think of, and take other pictures and kind of correlate them together to get whatever data they're looking for. Like if they're trying to describe something, they'll sign or picture in their mind visual cues on what it is they're looking for. I have had some who think in like text, so rather than having a visual cue, they're thinking the text like as if they were reading a book in their own head or something. So
oh yeah, I can see that.
A few different interpretations, I guess.
Oh wow, that's weird. I just tried to think in text for a minute, and that's really weird.
Oh yeah, that is.
Like just like try it for a second, like try to think in text.
Oh, I can't do that.
But yeah, that's really weird. I could not like maintain that for very long. It'd get too weird.
And see, the thing is though, they can only think in the text because they can't actually hear the voice that would go along with whoever's speaking.
Yeah.
So if they had the implants and they heard that for the first time, that's what would be the really most jarring sensation. Not the fact that it's somebody who's speaking, hearing the sound of their voice and, the accent or whatever, it could be different from what maybe perhaps I've come to imagine. When I think, there's only like 3 voices I hear. I mean, there's my own voice, there's Nick's voice, there's my dad's, and then my girlfriend's if I happen to be dating anybody at the time. Those are like the only 3 or 4 I ever actually hear. Yeah, so like if I'm trying to get in this headspace of somebody else, if I'm like trying to get into their mentality, it's me in my own voice just filled with a persona and what their likely train of thought would be regarding a situation. So, yeah.
Honestly, I don't think I think in my, well, I said I don't think I think. I don't think in my own voice. I just think in, I don't know how to really explain it. It's so complicated. Thoughts are so complicated.
I think mostly in conversations to myself. Like I'll have 2 different like I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's like arguing with yourself, but inside your head. And like one side will like be like, well, what if we do this? And then like the other side will be like, well, but then this and this. And then they'll like kind of go back and forth and like work out whatever I'm thinking about.
It's probably your id and your ego going at each other. Or super ego.
What it is. It's like a weird rationalization process, because like what effectively just is me like making a decision, like weighing what I know against what everything else I know to kind of decide what I'm going to do.
See, my rationalization process involves an actual like argument with myself in my head. Like
that's what I'm talking about.
It's like kind of like this, like a clone of me that I'm speaking to, and I'm arguing with them because they have the different viewpoint. They have like the whole, YOLO, yeah, just go do the thing. And meanwhile, in my own head, I'm rationalizing it to myself, who argues then back against me, and it's a whole weird process from there.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, is what you're talking about.
Suki, you need to do the thing, you dumb gal. No, I don't want to do the thing, but you need to do the thing. Okay, I'll do the thing.
But I can't do the thing because depression and anxiety. You can do the thing. You know you can do it, so why not just do the thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, but then you'd have to do this and that, and it's like, oh, but I don't want to do that. And it's like, yeah, but you probably should.
Yeah.
That's how I feel sometimes when I have to get up to go to college.
That's how I feel about going outside and like going on walks and stuff. Because I've been trying to do that more, and I have done it a lot more. But like every so often, I get super lazy about it, and I'm like, I don't want to go outside. That requires me actually moving.
Because you finally just got comfy on the couch, and you're just laying there all sprawled out. You're just like, life is good. I live here. This couch. This is now my home.
This couch is the only thing in my existence, and it needs to be the only thing that I ever see.
This couch is my soul.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more of that beeping. I don't know if you could hear it that time or not, though.
Sounds like something backing up. Truck backing up.
Yeah, it was like a truck backing up.
Backing up.
Boop, 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 boop. So actually, construction going on out there? Because that'd be really annoying. I'm gonna see what's going on really quick.
I mean, there's this thing called a window. You could always just, peek out and see.
Oh, dang. It looks like they're doing some kind of work on the building next door. Ooh, shit. Well, that would have been a disaster. Glad they didn't fall over.
Boy, it almost fell over.
The computer.
Oh God.
I caught it with my foot while I was walking back.
What?
Man, we need a better table for holding all this stuff because it takes up too much room in here. I still have to do a bunch of video editing today still. And I gotta edit this afterwards to make sure it's ready to be uploaded tomorrow. Friday is podcast day.
Huzzah!
Woo!
That should be your intro. Friday is podcast day. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Oh, what I freaking don't like still is that, the whole thing with the Red Cross or whatever, where they're like, if you're gay, you're not sorry, but you're not gonna be donating your blood.
The American Red Cross. Are you sure?
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure it was the Red Cross. They were at my school, saying we're gonna donate blood, or, I went to go donate blood and you had to fill out a thing.
Yeah.
And when I ask, have you had sexual relations with someone of the same gender in such and such amount of time? And I put yes, and they wouldn't let me donate blood because of it.
At that point, it just might be like a cautionary thing with like HIV kind of thing.
Bullshit. I really just think it's bullshit because they test the blood. They test all the blood anyways.
I mean, yeah, or at least they should before they actually go and draw from you.
Well, they test the blood to make sure it doesn't have any.
Yeah, they draw a separate sample to send it to someone to test.
Yeah, so it's really just stupid that they're like, oh, you're gay, sorry, you're not donating blood.
I don't know,
if it's a precaution or not, honestly.
That's most places that take blood, though. Like, it's pretty, it's a standard policy.
That's kind of weird.
It just feels really discriminatory to me.
Oh,
because I know when the Red Cross was coming around,
It was born out of, like...
Well, I get it's about the whole AIDS thing and all that, but I just think it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the policy was born during the AIDS epidemic, and they just never changed it. Because at the time,
I know the guy that told me that I was with said, oh, you can't donate blood. He said they were working to change that policy at some point.
Well, see,
just be saying that though.
When I was in high school, the blood drive that the American Red Cross came around with, they didn't care who you were. I mean, as long as they would put you in a chair, they'd take a small sample and they would go test it first. So you had to wait around for 20 minutes for them to get done with that. And then if you came back, positive with anything, they'd send you on your way. They didn't care if you were gay, straight, whatever. And, if you came back negative for everything, your blood's clean, essentially. Then they go ahead and draw however much amount they could.
But yeah, it's pretty much it's a standard policy, though, to do the, no gay people thing.
All I know is I'm definitely going to lie next time I go to donate blood, because I obviously don't have HIV.
Or AIDS.
Well,
AIDS is HIV. It's just
is it?
HIV progresses into AIDS.
Yeah, HIV is the same disease. It's just.
Well, I knew they were related. That one was into the other. I just didn't know.
AIDS is what happens if you don't AIDS is what happens if you don't manage your HIV.
Yeah, that.
Speaking of HIV and AIDS, though, did you hear about California's new change in law?
No, what's up?
They moved intentionally lying about having HIV and AIDS. They changed it from a felony to a misdemeanor. So you get a small fine, maybe a couple months in jail if you knowingly lie to people about having AIDS.
I don't know how I feel about that. Because if you ruin your like if you get into a relationship with someone and ruin their life.
It also applies to knowingly donating blood when you know you have AIDS.
And see, I think
Also a
that's
small misdemeanor.
I mean, I think honestly they should have left it as it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that was their new law change. That just happened this week, I think. They announced it this week, and it goes into effect on the 1st of January, I think.
Wait, so is it already passed, or is it still in the voting?
Oh, it's passed and been signed into law. It
Like, you can
goes into
bet.
effect in January.
Like, you can bet that if I was with a partner and they lied to me about having HIV and I ended up getting it from them, I definitely would not want them to just get off with like 2 months in prison.
And a small fine of like $1,000 or
Like,
whatever.
gonna ruin my life.
Yeah, it's like up to 6 months and like something fine. Probably some slap on the wrist fine because it's a misdemeanor.
And see, that's bull.
Yeah.
Because you literally, you lied about it and then you fucking ruined another person's life. That's not okay.
Yeah, it was like the first time in forever the Republicans who were against a thing were the ones I agreed with. I was like, they have a point.
It was the Democrats that passed that law.
Yeah, it's California. They're like...
Oh yeah, of
left
course.
as we
They're
go.
super blue state.
Well, not just super blue, but also super liberal.
Yeah, super blue, super liberal, same thing.
And look, don't get me wrong, I tend to swing liberal on some things, but that doesn't mean automatically that I agree with everything Democrats and liberals say, just like, you know, not everything a Republican or conservative says is wrong.
Yeah, I consider myself moderate, like, pretty much.
I'm pretty much on the left. The only issue, really, that I agree with the right on is probably guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, more gun control is not really going to stop the bad guys that really want to have guns from having them, because they'll find a way.
My feeling is there would be no harm in, like, small regulation, but in the end of the day, that's not the real thing that needs solved. What needs solved is mental health issues, but unfortunately...
Start blaming the people, not the guns.
Yeah, but the problem with that is the Republican Party only uses mental health as a shield to avoid talking about guns, and they don't actually have any intention of doing anything about mental health, and the Democrats are too busy talking about guns to discuss mental health.
Yeah.
So really, it's like a thing that's never actually going to get done.
So they need to meet somewhere in the middle.
The thing is, take Vegas shooting from last week, okay? Terrible incident, but immediately, what does everybody jump all over? It doesn't matter who it was that did the shooting. The dude is some rich white male who went out and bought a gun, okay? Rather than, looking at him and being like, okay, there's something wrong with him, instead they're blaming the fact that he had guns and was hauling them into the apartment and stuff, and they're focusing too much on that rather than being like, this dude was fucked up in the head. How did he get his hands on these weapons?
Yeah.
They can't figure that guy out either. Like, he doesn't like profile with a shooter. Like, nobody can make heads or tails of like his motivation.
Yeah, apparently his record was in both criminal and mental were completely clean. So
he's a rich,
really out of nowhere.
He's a rich Caucasian male with, girlfriend. Successful business venture, and he just happened to have, a couple of assault rifles and some pistols apparently. And yeah, somehow that ended up with him taking those same weapons that he wanted, carried them in a duffel bag up to the apartment where, he shot down into the crowd.
Yeah, they can't figure out why he did it though. That's the thing that's totally got them lost. Cause he's way too old to fit the profile of most shooters, and on top of that, nothing about the way he lived his life matches up with any other shooters like that.
And another thing, people
that just shows how complex people are.
Well, the thing is, I don't understand is that they keep focusing on this whole bump stock thing. It doesn't matter whether he had a bump stock or not. He still shot 50 people dead and injured another 200.
They're just focusing on the gun thing because that's all they know how to talk about.
I mean, you look in freaking, I don't remember where it was, somewhere in Europe. The guy killed about a whole bunch of people, but not with a gun. No, with a truck.
Yeah, there's the truck.
You can kill with it's not just about the guns. You can kill with other things too.
See, I feel like instead of taking away the tools to kill, maybe they should take away the desire to kill from people. Come up with a way to help these people who get driven to the point where they want to kill other people. Maybe we should figure out why that keeps happening and solve that problem instead.
And see, and that goes back to being a mental health issue, but nobody wants to talk about that.
I mean, like, with the school shootings, I'm pretty sure the reason that keeps happening is because they have shitty bullying policies. They have a standardized testing system that's incredibly stressful. They implemented, like, an entirely new school system that doesn't really work and just makes things infinitely harder. And, like, the parents can't help because they have no idea how the things work either. And so, like...
Well, it's just... Common Core doesn't work as a whole because it's trying to... Instead of being, you know, relatively malleable like the previous school system was, where you can kind of adapt it depending upon the level of complexity that your students are able to understand, you know, and you can kind of allocate resources towards those who need more help or less, you know, towards those who are succeeding and fine on their own. Now, everybody gets the exact same thing no matter what their mental health is like, no matter what their capacity for learning and understanding is. Everybody gets the exact same test. And theoretically, it sounds great because it means it's completely equal across the board. But what people fail to realize is that not every student is the same as the other because they're too busy trying to allocate to... or not allocate, but try to, you know, dumb everything down to get to the lowest possible common denominator to make sure that, you know, they can reach everybody as a student. Then it continues to dumb down the rest of the generation because they're having to lag behind and deal with whoever is dragging the class down.
But, so, like, that all is true, but also it's the way they implemented it, too, because... they implemented it across the board, which is the dumbest possible way they could have implemented it. They should have, if they were going to implement that system, they should have started at, like, whatever grade it starts at, which is probably first grade, I imagine. Or
Oh, no, that's a full K through 12 policy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what they should have done is they should have only implemented it for the lowest grade first, and then the next year moved it up one grade, and then moved it up one grade. So that way the first people who had it grew up with it instead of expecting a high schooler to suddenly switch to an entirely new system for no reason. Like, that alone was enough to make it impossible.
My sister was still in school when they implemented it a couple of years ago, and I read some of the textbooks and the way they're trying to explain things and concepts, and it doesn't make any sense because it's contradictory to what they've already been taught in school and what I was taught in school, what anybody at my grade level, you know, we had just recently graduated, and meanwhile I'm sitting here, I'm reading through the Common Core textbooks for math even, and it's just like even some of the most basic concepts don't make any sense because they're contradicting themselves.
Well, yeah, that's like what I'm saying is, that's why I'm saying they should have done it, like, because, like, you get taught a certain way, like, in the old system, and that way does not, like, mix with the new way they want to teach. Like, they're at odds with each other, so if you learned one way, it's going to be really confusing to try to go to the other way. And so what they should have done is started a grade of students with the new system and let them grow up with it, instead of trying to force a high schooler who's never seen it before to try to, like, learn it when they've been taught the other way. Because that was just a recipe for failure. I don't know who even approved that as an idea. That is not how they should have implemented it. They should have phased it in slowly.
Yeah, no.
Well, honestly, I feel like with Common Core, they shouldn't have bothered with it at all because it just...
I feel like there was certain ideas that were really good, but then there were things that really failed hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, some of the ideas... Sorry, you go ahead.
One of the things I liked is for history class, from what I understand, instead of it being about memorizing dates and names, they changed it to where you have to, like, discuss ideas about, like, what's happening in the history thing. And, like, I guess the idea is that it's not about whether you get the answer right or wrong, it's about whether or not you can defend the answer you came to. And for me, like, that's way closer to what history should have been in the first place than just memorizing names and dates. It's about, like, actually learning things from our past instead of just remembering people's names.
Right, which may or may not have been correct according to the history textbooks you were dealt.
But yeah, that's why I say, like, I feel like that's the way they should have done it from the beginning, is made it more about the ideas and less about the specific dates and people who were there.
And see, and that I can agree with, but the way the whole plan was executed has been...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like there was a lot of good ideas, but the execution was bad, and certain aspects of it weren't done very well.
And see, and I would agree with a lot of things regarding the Affordable Care Act. I believe that in theory it was a great idea, but because of the way it was passed through Congress and everything, that people kept wanting to go in and add on all these other, you know, bypasses and loopholes and other things to, you know, keep insurers safe, not, the people they're supposed to be insuring, that it ended up just being a terrible idea that unfortunately still got passed, because that's what Congress wanted.
I mean, it's still better than the having nothing, though. The having nothing was way worse. Although,
granted,
I feel like we should have a higher standard than slightly better than nothing, but that's just me.
I mean, we should, but you have to remember it's privatized insurance. We don't have any system of, a general basis to work off of, so the insurance companies are pretty much free to run high and dry however they choose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, is like, I feel like the Affordable Care Act is a system that's a slight step up from nothing, but we need to definitely go way further. I feel like at the very least we should do public option, but we should really be considering switching to single payer like everyone else.
And that's what Bernie Sanders was trying to put forth, but that got shut down.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much hope for that passing with an entire Republican government at the moment.
Especially when it's also trying their hardest to repeal the Affordable Care Act as it is.
I'm surprised they haven't succeeded in killing Obamacare yet. Like, it amazes me that they failed on that. Like, they literally have every single, they have the entire federal government in most of the states. But even with that much of a majority over the Democrats, they cannot successfully kill Obamacare.
And personally, I'm actually kind of happy about it.
Yeah, I'm just amazed at how incompetent, that requires a level of incompetence I didn't even think was possible. How do you get a room full of people who all want the exact same thing as you do, and you can't get them to do the thing that they all want to do?
Exactly.
But I mean, our deal maker president apparently can't make the easiest deal on earth.
Deal maker, my ass. He's a scam artist, an economist, nothing more.
Yeah, I just think it's funny. He's always selling himself as the deal maker. He's like, I make good deals. And then he's handed the easiest deal that could have ever been handed to anybody. He was basically handed a win on a silver platter, and he managed to mess it up somehow.
Because, I mean, yeah, he's a sham, a fraud, and a con, but he's a bad one. And that's even worse sometimes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the reason he won is because he's basically just a walking, talking reality show, and our country's full of people who eat that shit up.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I mean, if you look at the, majority of voters who voted for him and where they come from, it's full of all kinds of sheeple who just wanted a celebrity name up there.
Yeah, they're like, I know that name. You're fired. I'm voting for him. He's awesome.
We all know a lot of people were like, oh, I like him. I like him because he speaks his mind.
He doesn't even.
Yeah.
The funniest part is he doesn't even actually speak his mind. Even that's fake.
Instead, he uses Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate the whole politics being taken to Twitter beef and other bullshit.
He's like, whenever he'll promise people pretty much anything, and he just blurts out the first thing that comes out of his mouth, whether it's true.
Let's just ban elected officials from using Twitter and other social media during the terms, so they can't abuse it.
They're allowed to browse the site and read articles on it, but they're not actually allowed to do anything other than browse and read.
Yep.
They're not allowed to speak, tweet, or use Facebook or any of that.
Forget banning Twitter. Can we ban politicians from being allowed to be hip and with it? So that we can avoid things like Pokemon Go to the polls?
Pokemon, how do we get them to Pokemon Go to the polls?
Because that was probably the most cringeworthy thing that ever happened in all of American politics.
Didn't she dab too?
Yeah, she dabbed once. That was also pretty bad.
And then she repped the Vape Nation.
She made a Vine video at one point too, and it was really terrible.
The cringiest thing I think I've seen is that it's some sort of bizarre Christian meme, and it's like, oh, what up? It's that Savior. He is risen. And it's just like, why? Why is this a thing that exists?
I saw a thing where some old guy made a Christian rap.
Yeah. We have to make a special exemption, though. I feel like Obama should be allowed to do whatever he wants with social media, because he's actually funny.
Well, it's not just that, but unlike most other politicians, he actually cares about the people he is supposed to serve.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, because he had a lot of his own issues, and he was definitely a sellout in certain ways. He did slightly better, and towards the end, he pardoned a lot of people, which was pretty cool, but... So he wasn't, totally evil, but he also definitely.
I'm not saying he's the greatest guy ever. I'm just saying I think he was better than what we have now.
He was definitely way cooler than any other president, besides maybe Bill Clinton back in the 90s. Bill Clinton used to be cool. That's why he ended up winning.
He used to be cool, man.
Well, now he's like 800 years old.
800 years old.
Constantly high on cocaine and stealing pigs from.
Yeah, like have you seen him? He looks like he's gonna like drop dead any second anymore.
He does. Like
he looks worse and worse every day too. I think there might actually be something wrong with him, but I'm not sure.
It might just be all the cocaine.
Did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I feel like he had cancer at one point, didn't he? I feel like whenever Hillary was running against Obama, or shortly after, like he had some kind of cancer or something.
Yeah,
that sounds familiar, and I think he beat it.
I vaguely remember it, but I don't really fully remember it. Like
I don't either.
Happened in regards to that.
I remember that being an article headline of some sort, but I don't remember.
But he looks really bad these days. But he used to be cool back in the 90s, and Obama's like been the coolest guy ever. As far as presidents go and politicians.
I mean, I don't know so much about Obama. I know that there were a couple of policies that he passed that, I thought were really good. But personally, I always liked Michelle Obama. I thought she was a really cool person.
I never really saw that much of her. I know she did like the school lunch thing, and she showed up here and there. But like Obama, like made, what was it he did? He did the Vine video where he was like dunking his cookie in milk, but his cookie was too big. And then he was like, "Thanks, Obama," because he was making fun of, like when people used to say that all the time.
That's familiar, but I don't.
He had like a short little Vine where he was like trying to dunk a cookie in milk, and the cookie was too big, and then he was like got all frustrated, and he was like, "Thanks, Obama."
Yeah, I saw that actually.
And then there was the one from the White House Correspondents' Dinner where he's like, "And now I'm gonna show a rare clip from my birth," and he like plays the opening scene to The Lion King.
Yes, that was hilarious.
That was like probably the funniest thing a president has ever done.
I mean, honestly, the best thing I've ever seen out of Trump is just that GIF where it's just him. He leans slightly forward to the microphone. And he's just wrong.
Wrong. You're wrong.
No, not even you're wrong. Just wrong. That's it. That's all he says.
No, that's the one. But like he starts saying it a bunch shortly after. Like if you watch that debate, like she's like trying to finish her point, and he keeps like butting in, going wrong. You're wrong. Wrong.
I don't bother with any of Trump's debates.
I watched only one of them, and it was the one where he did that, and it was the funniest shit. He was like, "Wrong, you're wrong, wrong, wrong." Oh my God. He did it like he sounded like a little kid. It was like the funniest thing.
I never paid attention to him before he became president. I don't really even know after he became president. But does the guy have a stutter or something?
It's like the way he talks is really weird.
Yeah.
It's like he's constantly trying to make fun of Obama, who actually had a stutter and overcame it. And it's just like, what are you doing? Why do you keep pausing every 5 seconds?
Trump is like the way he talks is like sort of scatterbrained. Like he's got it's like his thoughts are like just a big mess on the floor, and he's got to like sort through them all. Which is why he'll be like, it's like, I was talking to people, and those people, they say to me, "Hey Donald, you're the best, Donald, you're the best." But anyways, about what I was actually talking about, you see, it's this thing, and this thing is a really good thing. It's the greatest thing. That's the thing you see about the thing. Believe me.
See, if I was a reporter trying to write all that down on my notepad while I'm interviewing Donald Trump, I'd just be like, I look at it, squint my eyes a little bit, like, the fuck are you saying, dude?
He'll start to say a thing, he'll tell like a short, semi-related story, then he'll get back on track of what he was like originally saying, if he doesn't get distracted with a second like off-topic story.
Or chocolate cake.
And usually his story is about like one of his products. He'll be like, "And on this tragic day, this terrible day, believe me, I was at the Mar-a-Lago, and I was like, it's really terrible, it's bad." Like, the story's usually about one of his properties, but he'll always get sidetracked with like something before he gets back to what he was talking about at first. Because it like it takes him a minute to like collect his thoughts, I think. Because he's like one of those people who thinks like 80 things at the same time and can't keep track of what he's thinking about.
I mean, it'd be one thing if, like, you know, he, like, paused, like, after somebody asked a question, he, you know, paused and, like, took a moment to collect himself and say what he was gonna say. But even if he does take a moment and really try and, like, think about whatever he's trying to speak, he starts, and then the roller coaster starts divoting a little left, and then it gets back on track, and then it's a little right, and it gets back on track, and then suddenly it just flies up of 80 feet, and it's just like, why?
Yeah, there's a video online that literally breaks down his speech. I can't remember who did it though, but they like break down his speech and like all the little things that make up the way he talks, and it's really weird. But he almost always goes off on some kind of tangent whenever he's talking, like without a teleprompter.
Yeah. My biggest thing is I don't understand why anybody is still trying to defend this guy.
Because some people are just convinced he's great, and other people are Nazis. Unfortunately,
The fact that
he doesn't have as much support as he makes it seem like he has. Like, whenever the election happened, 50% of our country didn't even vote, and of them, over half voted for Hillary Clinton. So right from the start, he had less than 25% of the country who supported him. And then that number's only gone down since he got elected, so...
Yeah, his approval rating is...
But see, the thing is,
probably
it doesn't matter what the
support at this point.
What the public vote was. He didn't win the public vote, but he went and he bribed the Electoral College, just like he said he was going to on the campaign trail.
I don't think he bribed them. He didn't have to. The way he won, the way that it's set up with the states, he would have won just by how he won the states. Because no one in the Electoral College changed their vote to what it should have been. Like, nobody changed their vote based on, like, their districts.
So, gerrymandering.
Not really. It's, like, you know what affirmative action is, right? Where, like, they have a certain amount of, like, minority people who are, like, supposed to be in any, like, school or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they have to meet, like, a certain quota.
Yeah.
So, like, the Electoral College is, like, effectively like that, where only instead of that, it's, like, small towns and, like, big cities. And so, like, they have to give so much of a say to, like, small rural areas with low populations. So, like, a vote in, like, certain hick towns and hick areas is worth, like, 10,000 votes of, like, somebody in California.
Wow.
Like, so, like, just depending on where you live, your vote is more or less powerful. So it doesn't matter that she had more people vote for her. He had more valuable people voting for him, even though it was less people.
You know, and honestly, a lot of people that voted for either of our candidates didn't really. A lot of them really didn't even.
Well, I mean, like,
want
over half
like the people they voted for
to vote because they just hated both of the candidates.
They're both awful candidates.
And that's why I voted third party.
Same here.
I wasn't able to get out of work in order to make it in time. I got off with like half an hour left, and then my ride showed up late, so I wasn't able to vote. Which sucks. I was going to vote for Jill Stein.
I voted for,
Yeah, I voted for Jill Stein, I think.
I voted Gary Johnson.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, in hindsight, I was thinking I should have voted for him.
I feel like, given the way this one's gone and the way Trump is, like, if the third parties were serious, they would just hit the ground right now and already be working on their campaigns.
Right.
Because, like, with all of this mess, like, they'd have a perfect opportunity to build up, like, a groundswell over the next, like, 3 years before the elections happen again. And then one of them could maybe have a high enough percent to show up in a debate. They probably won't.
DeFranco 2020. DeFranco 2020.
Probably vote for him. He'd probably have a lot of policies I disagree with, though.
Yeah.
He's kind of...
I agree with him more than I agree with any of our current politicians.
Yeah. He's kind of a sinner, and he'd probably have a lot more pro-business policy than I would prefer, because I feel like they're oftentimes given too much. They're given too much that's supposed to help small business, but only ends up ever helping, like, corporations.
Yep.
Like, the small businesses seem to do worse and worse with these pro-business policies.
Right.
And then, like, the corporations will just always do better. So I feel like if you're going to do those policies, they need to actually help small businesses, or they're just useless.
See, my thing is, I hope that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, actually keep to their promises to run in 2020.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome.
In fact, actually, if it was Dwayne Johnson and his partner, his vice president or whatever, his running partner was Arnold Schwarzenegger, I would vote for that in a heartbeat.
Well, Arnold can't run because he's not a natural-born American citizen.
I know he's Austrian.
But what I want to see is The Rock running as a Democrat and have Stone Cold Steve Austin run as a Republican. That would be hilarious. They can settle the presidency in the ring. Because at this point we've already reached Idiocracy anyways.
Who knew that was a documentary?
Yeah, the movie pretty much got it spot on. Trump is a wrestler.
They actually made a game about it.
How long was he even in wrestling? It wasn't very long, was it? He was only in there for a short while.
Who?
Yeah, he was in one of their wrestling story arc, and he got slammed by somebody. I don't remember who.
I honestly don't remember. I think he might have been in wrestling for a year or something.
Yeah, he had a fake beef with Vince McMahon.
I don't know. I don't keep up with wrestling.
I wish Raul was still awake. I'd ask him because he'd know what I was talking about. Actually, Vince McMahon's wife is in charge of small businesses now. She's the secretary of small business or whatever they call it. Because Trump appointed her to that cabinet position.
I don't know how certain people got into the administrative positions that they're in, and they definitely don't deserve to be there. Freaking our head of science is a flat Earth believer.
Oh, well, I can actually explain these ones. He's basically, what he's doing is he's trying to shut down the departments without shutting them down. And so what they do is they assign someone who's against those departments to run them, so that way they can't run effectively. So he's like, no, what are you talking about? I'm not trying to shut these things down. See, they're still there. I didn't abolish them. But really, he just put somebody in who might as well have abolished them. It's a tactic where you can get rid of something without actually getting rid of it. Whenever Bush was president, I think he did the same thing.
Maybe
only not as extreme. Trump's in your face about it. He doesn't know you're supposed to be sneaky about it because he's not good at it.
Yeah.
Because Bush would get former lobbyists from whatever place to go in and run the departments, and then Trump gets the actual CEO of the oil company to run stuff.
Isn't that who's running the environmental position?
Rick Perry's running the environmental one, and he's a climate change denier. He's a famous climate change denier who at one point said the EPA should be abolished, and he's running the EPA now.
I see.
So, they're not going to be able to actually do their jobs.
Well, yeah, it doesn't help that, even if they were able to function to an extent before, despite having these people running them now, it doesn't help any that they've been defunded.
Oh, man. Did you hear about his beef with his Secretary of State?
No, I don't even know who the Secretary of State is right now.
The Secretary of State is an oil CEO named Rex Tillerson.
Oh, okay.
And Rex Tillerson got caught on some interview calling Trump a fucking moron. And he said fucking moron, too.
Wow.
And Trump went out on this press conference and he's like, oh yeah, you think I'm a moron? You want to take IQ tests right now? We'll see who's the moron.
Oh, I think I heard about that briefly.
And I was thinking to myself, man, I wish I was Rex Tillerson right then and there, because I'd have been like, okay, let's do it. I've got time. Let's take those IQ tests and watch how fast he runs and hides, because he's really dumb. He'd be like, oh crap, he called my bluff. It'd be funny. He'd probably do like he did with his tax returns and be like, I can't, they say I can't, I'm not legally allowed to.
Yeah.
That was funny, because then the IRS was like, what is he talking about? We already said he could release his tax returns. And then he kept being like, no, the IRS, they said I can't.
And IRS turned and was like, what are you talking about? Yes, you are legally allowed to reveal your tax returns. We can't stop you from doing that.
Yeah, it was funny. He kept saying that even though they kept telling him that was not true.
I think somebody at the IRS might have said that it's not necessarily recommended, but, he's allowed to publicly show off his tax records.
I don't know why well, actually I do. I'm pretty sure it's because he wasn't worth as much money as he was claiming. Yeah,
because he's a fraud. Also that he's, filed for bankruptcy at least 4 times in the past decade.
Yep, he's a great businessman. He won at Monopoly one time, so clearly he's the best at real estate.
That's like playing GTA for an hour and saying, I can drive.
He's had some really terrible ideas over the years. He did come up with the best idea ever, though, because most of the time, the reason that he has money at all is because most of the time he just convinces other people that he's great and then sells his name, which is something that is totally free. Like, he doesn't have to pay for his name.
Right.
He's selling people his name for millions of dollars. Like, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
That's probably like the only effective thing he's ever sold, is he's made people believe he's such a good businessman that they want to literally purchase his name to put on their stuff. That name value has definitely gone up though now, because now he's a president. So now he can sell his name for even more money.
Yep. Especially if he ever becomes a former president.
Well, I mean, he will eventually, in 4 to 8 years, or sooner if something happens. Although I doubt anything will happen.
Oh God.
They always think something's gonna happen, but nothing ever happens. Except for the JFK. Things happen to him.
Well, I mean, we could, face something completely opposite where, like, he establishes some sort of tyrannical rule and then, just never gets impeached or never,
No,
leaves office.
That kind of shit ain't gonna happen.
I don't think that's gonna happen either. It's highly unlikely.
Well, if he declares martial law because we go to war with North Korea, that's essentially what will happen.
He's not going to... He can't effectively, get a healthcare law passed with a group of people who want to get rid of a healthcare law. I can't see him actually pulling off a tyrannical rule when he can't even, effectively do the simple task that any other president could.
Granted, I don't see it either, but it's still something that exists.
It's entirely possible to happen. Like, a similar thing happened in Turkey with Erdogan, but...
Right.
It's just unlikely with someone as dumb as him. I don't think he has the intellectual power to actually pull it off.
I don't think he has the mental capacity to pull it off.
Plus, he doesn't have enough support. For that to work, you have to have enough. You have to have enough of the people to actually be threatening. He would need an actual amount of the country to take up arms against the other part of the country for it to work. And unfortunately, more people dislike him than like him, so it probably wouldn't work out.
Well, for a little while there, a couple months ago, it looked like we were about to enter a civil war because of all the violence that was erupting between the right and the left protesters and stuff.
Yeah, I really felt like it could happen any day with all that.
The communist Nazi shit, brawl out in the streets.
Still could happen.
The shitty people versus the also shitty people.
Yeah.
Everyone else who wasn't fighting was just kind of man, I hope they kill each other. That'd be swell.
Yeah, that would be.
Then they won't bother us. They'll just thin out their own numbers. They're both so convinced they're right that they've justified pretty much everything they do.
Yep. It's I'm right, so I'm gonna punch you.
The Nazis, the communists, or are you talking about the Antifa people?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. They've gotten to the point where they pretty much think they're in the right, so they can do whatever they want because it's for the greater good.
I don't know a whole lot about Antifa. I do agree with the idea of punching Nazis in the face, though.
I really don't.
I'm not a fan of punching people for what they say. Because there's a whole lot of other factors that have to be considered.
It's not just because of what they say. I am a fan that if you're a Nazi, you deserve to be punched in the face. Because if you truly believe in that kind of ideal, I don't know. I'd be a little bit more extreme because I believe if you're a Nazi, you should be shot on sight. Maybe not to kill, but
Okay, so the problem with that is, how do I put this? It's like whenever in movies people go back in time to change one thing and then they come back and they fucked everything up.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of situations. It's you may mean well with that whole sentiment, but the unintended consequences of it, go much deeper and cause more problems than they solve. Because once you justify punishment for speech against one person, you've opened the door to punishment for speech against other people, and who decides who's getting punished and who decides what the punishments are and who decides what's okay to say and what's not okay to say. And
that's
also,
why it's not
and also
about...
when you say the thing about Nazi, well, who's deciding who is and isn't a Nazi? Because at this point some people are calling literally everyone a Nazi.
Yeah, we aren't the arbiter arbiters.
So, like, my point is, it's like, yeah, the Nazis, the actual Nazis suck, and when I saw Richard Spencer get punched in the face, I thought it was the funniest fucking thing I'd ever seen. But at the same time, like, if we don't protect their right to free speech, we kind of endanger everyone's rights. Because it's meant to protect speech that you don't like, not speech that you do. Speech that you do need protecting, because, you know, obviously nobody's going to shut down speech they agree with.
Well, see, that's the thing. The speech, you know, look, I don't like it, but they have a right to it, and that's fine. But at the same time, I feel like that with them being a Nazi, they understand and accept the consequence that if someone's going to come over and punch them in the face for what they believe in, they have the right to punch back. However, that doesn't mean I support Nazism or anything regarding it.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody really supports the Nazis. They're not as large a number as everyone tries to make it seem.
Yeah, it's blown up.
Hyperbole. It's probably
blown up.
It's like a couple thousand fucking basement-dwelling fucktards, pretty much.
I understand that they're not a very large group, but the fact remains that they exist, and they've been getting a lot of publicity recently. And that's never a good thing.
Yeah, and honestly, going around and punching them would probably just give them more publicity.
Yeah, that's the other side of it, is that when you go around punching them, you make them the sympathetic party.
Yeah.
Instead of yourself, because then you look like the aggressive one in the situation, which unintentionally causes their numbers to grow instead of shrink, which means you make more Nazis instead of getting rid of them.
You know, unfortunately, you're right. I keep forgetting that people don't think for themselves anymore.
Like I said, it's like one of those unintentional consequence things. It's like you definitely like mean well when you are doing what you're doing. It's just like because the world doesn't work quite that way, it ends up having a string of consequences attached.
I know, but the thing I keep running into is, when do we stop tolerating the intolerance? When do we finally stand up and decide that enough is enough?
Well, whenever anything goes from speech into action, that's when it becomes something you intervene on. Like, once you've crossed the threshold from speech into action, that's when it's like something that has to be dealt with, I would say.
Okay, and so what is defined as action as opposed to just speech? Because apparently that's a really big gray area anymore.
Okay, well, speech is using words or texts or GIFs or memes or whatever. Mm-hmm. Actions, if you
GIFs or memes,
like, actually go out and do something. Like, the Antifa people can say whatever they want about punching Nazis or whatever, and it's like, whatever. But once they've punched a Nazi, now they've committed assault. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can talk about punching Nazis all they want, that's fine. But once they actually punch a Nazi, then that's a different thing. Now it's from speech to action.
Well, my question is, so, say an Antifa person runs out and punches a Nazi. Are you saying that it is not justified?
No, I would say it's absolutely.
The thing about Antifa is that they see anybody that's on the right and they're just going around and you're a Nazi, you're a Nazi, you're a Nazi. Oh, they're not the moral arbiters.
Disregard the
decide if somebody's a Nazi or not.
Let's say we have two people arguing in the street. You overhear the conversation. One of them is alt-right extremist. He is a Nazi and a white supremacist. He believes in that whole ideal. The other one is just person who's relatively moderate in their political stances. The person who's relatively moderate punches the Nazi in the face. Is that justified?
No.
Why?
I don't think punching anybody in the face is ever justified.
Assaulting.
When it comes to just words.
Yeah. When it comes
if you got a Nazi going around, like literally trying to install like a Nazi state or something into our country, then maybe you can go punch him. Right now, if it's just words, like it's not justified to go around and hit somebody and hit people.
Yeah, you really shouldn't be hitting people for what they say, honestly.
It's when it goes beyond that. When it goes beyond the words, the protests, or peaceful protests, whatever.
Like, how would I put it? Whenever that one dude drove his car into the protesters in Charlottesville or whatever, and then like the next day a bunch of people were like pulling down those statues and like breaking them and shit, like as a response to that.
Yeah, I mean that's vandalism.
Yeah, it is vandalism. I totally didn't really have too big a problem with it though.
Well, yeah, I don't care that much.
See, like, my thing with it though was, under the circumstances that it was in, it was closer to Like, it wasn't actually about the statues at that point. It was about reacting to like what had happened in Charlottesville. So it was kind of, it wasn't on the same level, but it was kind of like the same thing when the Saddam statue got pulled down at the end of the Iraq War, if you remember that.
I do not.
I think maybe.
Well, I shouldn't say the end, but whenever they killed Saddam, basically, there was like this moment that they filmed where he was like pulling down these people from Iraq were pulling down his statue and like they toppled it. And it was meant to be like symbolic, like his reign is over or whatever. And it was a response to his like fascism. It wasn't like they were trying to erase history or say that you aren't allowed to X. They were just being like, symbolically, your fascism is done. So like in that context, when they were pulling down the Civil War statues or whatever, they weren't like, oh, we're erasing history, or oh, we're trying to pretend like this never happened, or you're not allowed to talk about this. They were saying, oh, well, you killed that guy, and like, we're gonna tear down fascism, pretty much. It was supposed to be like a symbolic statement in response to the fascism, as opposed to like an anti-speech thing, which is why I didn't have as big of a problem with it. It's still vandalism, and as I put it, like, if you're gonna protest that way, you should be prepared to be arrested. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think you should like be like upset if you get arrested during a protest like that.
Yeah, because you know, vandalism is still vandalism, whether you're trying to make a statement or not.
Yeah. So I feel like if you're gonna do one of those types of protests, you should go in like being like, okay, if I get arrested, like, you know, that's on me, and I've chosen that, like, this is worth it to me to get arrested. Like, I've made that decision before I go in. It was like those people who were getting arrested for, what were they doing? They were doing like a sit-in, I think, or something. I don't remember, but they were like getting arrested, and like they were like, oh, I can't believe he's arresting us, and like what they did was actually illegal because it was like trespassing. And it's like, well, what you're doing is called civil disobedience, not civil obedience. Like, you're supposed to get arrested. It's part of like how it works. Like, it doesn't work if you're not causing a scene and like people are going to jail.
I guess I don't think I caught anything on that one.
What is it?
I don't think I caught anything regarding that particular protest, sit-in or whatever you were talking about.
There's been a bunch of them, but I just remember one in particular where people were like really upset that they were getting arrested. And I was just thinking to myself at the time, I was like, you know, that's like the whole point. Like, for people who protest and who are activists, like, getting arrested at a protest is supposed to be like a badge of honor type thing. Like, if you're like really there to like affect political change or whatever, you've gone in knowing that you're probably gonna leave with some kind of record.
I really need to hit the hay.
Yeah, we've probably reached the point where we should wrap up anyways.
Alright.
Yeah, like I seen your podcasts are like an hour and a half long, so, and we've been talking much longer than that.
This is gonna be a really, really long podcast, so I hope people are ready for that. It'll probably be the longest one I've ever made. I'm gonna have so much fun combing through all this and cutting out stuff.
I just hope you don't get a lot of hate because of the politics and stuff we've been discussing.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
Well, I mean, we haven't discussed anything I mean, I guess the punching Nazi thing is
I mean, the moment we said we didn't like Trump, I'm sure there's a lot of really annoying trolls who are not going to be too kind to us. But also, the podcasts don't get crazy amounts of views anyways.
Well, maybe like, one day, your podcast will become world famous. One day, it will happen.
Yeah, one day.
After the apocalypse ends.
Yeah.
If it does, I hope. YouTube is pretty much controlled by advertisers.
Yeah.
Corporate America, fuck you.
Alright, so this has been the sixth. I want to say it's the sixth, but I'll probably end up being wrong.
It's the sixth, I believe.
Sixth Fur Talk podcast. I am Blake Foxx. Ralleign has gone to sleep, and our two guests are
Johnny.
Suki.
You guys nailed it. All right, that's good enough. We'll catch you in the next podcast, I guess.